Jade.
Big story dominating the headlines today, of course, is French President François Hollande's visit to the US.
That's right. I'd like to begin looking at Le Figaro, which runs the headline, Hollande in the country of success. Now, this isn't just a pat on the back for the U.S. economy. It's a bit of a jab for the socialist president. The right-leaning newspaper says the trip should allow the socialist president to see up close and personal how Obama managed to revive the American economy and what lessons Hollande can take home with him. Now, inside the paper, there's an editorial called Turning American, and it says that Hollande's not just getting a state visit. He's getting much more than just a red carpet rolled out for him. He'll have his photograph in the Oval Office, a trip on Air Force One, perks that his predecessor nicknamed Nicolas Sarkozy the American didn't even receive. Now, the piece says this isn't just about diplomacy or politics. Both presidents right now are suffering from low approval ratings, and the event, the official state visit, is meant to serve as a bit of distraction for their countries to sort of boost up their appearance at home and abroad.
Right, hoping maybe a bit of Obama's stardust can rub off on Hollande there. And French press is not mincing its words about the meeting, is it? There's a lot of pressure on Hollande and his economic agenda.
That's right. The pro-business paper here in France called L'Opinion has on its front page, it says, Mr. 75% in the land of startups and entrepreneurs. This 75% refers to the tax on incomes over 1 million euros. Now, it says that Hollande is going to visit Silicon Valley, and he's going to try to woo back some of these former pigeons, as they call them, tech startups that left France for more favorable economic conditions in the U.S., and that he'll be trying to woo them back and portraying that France is open to business, essentially. But he also has to defend his label as a social democrat, a sort of outdated label, as being modern and high and offering high taxes. Within the paper on the front page also, there's this open letter, a sort of satirical piece, where he's like, I am François Hollande and such. And what they're saying is basically, can America buy into this image of an outdated France trying to show that it's modern and is open for business? And in the closing line of the piece, it says, don't worry if there's a lot of layoffs here in France. It's never the bosses that lose their jobs, at least.
It'll be interesting to see, won't it? Well, Hollande's visit also comes on the heels, of course, of Yahoo has announced a move from France to Ireland, fleeing to, some might say. A report that Google faces a €1 billion tax bill.
Yes, that's right. So France has had trouble trying to keep some of these tech companies interested in France competitively. On Libération, the front page, it says the internet companies that are the engine driving tax evasion. And an editorial within the piece says that all multinationals try to gain an upper hand in terms of accounting and finding a way, sort of like loopholes in regards to taxes. But the point this piece makes is that Obama and Hollande have to find a way to be firm fiscally, both in the US and France, because these internet companies don't have a tangible service. And while they must be firm fiscally, they have to remain attractive to businesses. And this state visit allows them the opportunity to try to make groundwork in that regards. Another piece within Libé says it's the tax kits of internet giants, and the piece talks about ogres of the web. It calls the process of luring and then taxing these companies a sort of cat and mouse process. For instance, Google, this €1 billion back tax bill that they might have to pay, Libé has a source that already says that bill may have been halved. Now, if we look back in 2011, firms like Google, Apple, Facebook, and Amazon, they would have paid €828 million in taxes, but the way they sort of optimized the tax code, they ended up only paying €37.5 million, so 22 times fewer than what they should have.
Interesting. But, of course, politics is also on the agenda during this visit, isn't it?
That's right. So Le Figaro is running a story that Paris wants to strengthen its ties with Washington in the Sahel Desert. This France's defense ministry recently said that the U.S. has never played such a large role in overseas operations. And it talks about how it can impose security and cut down on terrorism in the Sahel and cut back on smuggling as well. But this is an agenda that's not high on Washington's priorities, and French diplomats are aware of that. So what they're counting on, or at least hoping for, is that Washington will kind of take a backseat approach, provide active support and services, but not be in the spotlight, sort of step back and let France play that role. And that's one that Paris presumably would be happy to do. So there's a lot on the agenda in Washington, and it's not just going to be about these leaders trying to boost their popularity, but actual business on hand.
All right, William Hildebrand, thanks for that wrap-up of what's making headlines in the French papers. Thanks again, of course, to Stephen Carroll for the business news. We're going to keep you updated on that visit from President Francois Hollande to the US. But first, we're going to take a short break. Stay with us, though. When we come back, we'll have a special report on Italy's collaborators of justice, former criminals who work with authorities in return for protection and compensation are a crucial part of the country's fight against the mafia. But is this the best way to crack down on organised crime? Our reporters explore in our focus segment.